Solo, a Star Wars story. Now, before I get to cut into the review, I really want to break this down very short and very simply. You're clicking on this. You're one or two people right now clicking on this video. One, you've seen the film and you're wondering what everyone else thinks. Pretty much. Two, you haven't seen the film. You already know how divided the reactions have been, and now you're using mine and other people's reviews to make your mind up to decide whether to go see the film. First of all, it's non-spoilery, so for the first fan base, or the first audience clicking on this video, this is very much a non-spoilery video. However, I will be still sharing my thoughts on the film, of course. Before you watch this video, if you have seen the film, go and open your perspective a little bit. That sounds a bit weird, but have a look at some video essays or other people's reviews and different sides of it, whether they agree or disagree, whatever. Have a look at that, because when I'm going to give this review, obviously mostly this review is for people who haven't seen the film. I'm going to give it from that kind of balanced perspective. Like, I was still biased because it's me who's seen the film, but I'm going to make sure I consider that, overall perspective and, expectations and all those factors as well. Let's just get right off the bat. Solo, a Star Wars story, is a good time. It is a good film. That's it. We'll start with that, okay? Now, I'm going to break down what that means for who and what that means. Let's go for who first. Again, two audiences yet again, right? We have to break it down into these. This is as simply as possible. You are a Star Wars fan. You've seen at least most of all Star Wars films. You're invested in the Star Wars universe. And two, not necessarily like a general person who goes sees a film, but someone who has an inkling of Star Wars, enjoys these kind of films, and wants some a fun time in the cinema. An entertaining film is what it is. So two audiences. It's a good time for both. I went in seeing Solo just wanting to see it. That's it. I've heard about the disagreements being Elden Rich. Let me clarify how. The actor who plays Han Solo, because I don't want to butcher that name. No, I don't. Elden Ehrenreich? A lot of discussions on the casting, etc. I was aware of those things, but I kept mainly away because I'm like, this is a Star Wars film. I like watching Star Wars films. When I go see this film, I'm just gonna want to see it. That's it. My expectations were nothing. Like, I didn't know what this film was going to be about, besides being a Han Solo origin. Nothing. Just wanted to go in and enjoy it. Now, when I went in with that mindset, because that's the mindset I usually go in with most films, usually, unless it's like, for example, maybe like Infinity War or a film I'm really looking forward to. I really get into like the marketing material and everything. I get a bit of an idea what may happen. It's a little bit different when it comes to films that I do want to see, but I'm like, I don't want other people's opinions affecting it, because that's just going to ruin the enjoyment for me, because I watch films for enjoyment as well. Not every film needs to be a critical masterpiece. Well, that's just me personally. Going into this film and coming out of it, I had a really good time. I, again, gained perspective after watching the film, looking at other people's comments about it being this and that. I don't even want to get into it. You probably already know, but I'm not going to get into like what people think, because that even in itself is a spoiler. It spoils the experience of seeing Solo. I was pleasantly surprised with the acting of the actor who played Han Solo, and just the cast as well. Very solid, no real mishaps. Performances was good. The cinematography caught me off guard. I was like, wow, there's some really nice shots. The pacing, not fantastic, but all in all, I was like, this film's gotten a lot of bad rep. Why? It's enjoyable. That is more towards satisfying the what question for people who just want to go see this film for a bit of enjoyment. They know Star Wars, etc. But for us who are, I would say hardcore, for us who are hardcore Star Wars fans, going into this film, that sentiment still applies. We are more focused on character. We're more focused on the characters and the lore. We're more focused on how they treat these characters more than anything. Han Solo is a scoundrel. He is a charmer. He is the character out of the original trilogy that a lot of us loved because he wasn't like the main protagonist. He was the guy that didn't care. Like, the guy that didn't care, that had his arc where eventually he did become a hero or recognized himself as a hero. I won't go too deeply into that. There was some really poor thrown out words, but you get the idea. You know Han Solo. He is a figure of pop culture. Him and Harrison Ford are one and the same. He is such a identifiable character. That was the worry for a lot of us going to this film, whether that was going to be treated correctly. My first point, like already knowing that this was going to be an origin story, is that he wasn't going to be He wasn't going to be the Han Solo that we knew. It showed this naive, hustler growing up in the streets of this really, really, really terrible world and wanting to escape. That's pretty much the premise of his origins. I think the disagreement, though, comes with people not wanting to accept that he has to go on this journey. This is his origin. Yes, it's an origin that we never asked for, because his origin could have been just Star Wars: A New Hope was his origins. He was a hustler. He was a criminal. He was a smuggler. That was it. Like, we just knew that, and the story began in A New Hope. But this is where we learn how he got to that point. I saw inklings of the Han Solo we knew in this portrayal of Han Solo. He's young. He's probably like 20. He doesn't have the life experience that Han Solo does in A New Hope. There were two themes. Okay, this is not really. Hopefully, this is not too spoilery, but two themes in the film that were very relevant to the origin: family and trust. I think they were the two most perfect themes you could have for this film. This really kind of conveys how he comes from point A, which is this film, all the way to point B, which is A New Hope. Those two themes are very tested by this character. We learn, the fact that his last name is Solo says a lot about his character. He really does, he flies by himself. Chewie being his best friend, but there is a sentiment to having Solo in his name. One, I didn't realize this. Like, this was never, he was just Han Solo. That was just his name. This puts a lot of emphasis on what that name means to him. What being alone and what family and what trust means to him. He goes on that arc through the film, and I believe that arc pays off. This is the beginning of his journey, I guess, on the way to Han Solo. Honestly, that's the way I saw it. I really enjoyed how they kind of portrayed him. So yeah, I'm keeping it very focused on Han because Chewbacca, Lando, all really good characters. I could say for a spoiler review, that will be a longer video, but in terms of just this, those characters really do exist as reflections of Han. In terms of their relationship with him, teaches him lessons that make him the Han, or lead him on the path to be the Han that we know and love. I think that's the best note to leave that on. If you have seen the film, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you haven't, go see it, then come back and watch this again and see whether you agree with the kind of perspective I'm going for here. In good news, we are very much close to 100 subscribers, so thank you for all of you who have subscribed so far. On the last video, on the Deadpool 2 video, I did a little ASMR sketch. It was just purely a joke, but a few people have commented, or have told me that I have a good ASMR voice. Now, as a bit of another joke, and also kind of just a thank you, if we can get to 100 subscribers, you're hearing it here first, I will do an ASMR video. 100 subscribers. So pretty much share this link with one other person. Get them subscribed, just click a button. This channel is really starting to form up a little bit. I'm trying to get more and more stuff up. There will be vlogs coming out, ideally next week. Exams will be over, so I'm going to start working on my kind of the storytelling elements that, as much as I love stories, I do like making stories as well. Until then, if you can give me a like and subscribe, I really appreciate it. It's so weird. asking for this. Like, you know what? If you love this, thank you. Hit subscribe. It really does help me. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Hopefully there'll be another video that will come out that you will like. Until then, peace.